Hello, I'm Michael from Joto Imaging Supplies, and this is a customer request video. This is actually going to be multifaceted. We're going to talk about quite a few parts of doing 11-ounce mugs in a sublimation oven. Now, the oven that the customer is using is one of the larger Hicks ovens, but the process is the same, so we're using one of our little ones that we have here in the showroom to demonstrate. So let's talk about a few of the issues that have come up. And this is one that's been coming up quite a bit for me lately, so I'm going to start with this, and that is taping your mugs. There are several reasons why it's really important not to over tape. It's not that it's really going to cause a problem with your final results so much as it's making your life more difficult, and it's not serving you in any way. So let's talk about that. So when we're doing an application, I'm going to be just using a basic image. This is our Parapi Premium paper, which is easily the best sublimation paper I've ever used. Definitely get, on average, better results, not just on average, consistently get better results with this paper than I do with others. But that's not what we're talking about today, so let's get to what we're talking about. So, application of the sublimation paper, centering it up. This is the same for just about everybody. We all know exactly what we're dealing with here. You want to make sure that it is going to appear on your mug, essentially opposite the paper. Line it up as you like it. Now, getting to the tape. I love these tape dispensers specifically for mugs. My oven's ready, but I'll get to that in a minute. I love these tape dispensers. Here's why I love them. Click, click. My tape is pre-cut and in a length that is decent and easy to use. At home, I use much shorter lengths, maybe half this length at home, but I'm hand cutting that. So I use this coming right off the auto dispenser, and it really does speed up my time. I go right down the center with it. I don't tape to the corners. People ask me, well, why don't you? The answer is really quite simple. The tape is not what's ensuring pressure for the paper to the mug. It's not doing that. It's just holding the paper in position for you. That's its only function. So as long as you get two decent strips, right, while your paper is in position on your mug, that is all you need. I went in there a little too fast for you, didn't I? Right? That's all you need. Okay? This is fine. This is fine. In fact, this is a benefit because that's going to give me something to rip it off with later without necessarily touching a hot mug, which is something that we all want to avoid, of course. All right. So now that our tape is on, and we'll talk about it again a little bit later on when we see our results, but now that our tape is done, the next step is to wrap. So I have here with me two different kinds of wrap. Okay? I have the wrap that my customer is using. This is the cheapy stuff. And I call it cheapy, but it's actually very effective stuff. It's just way less expensive, and when it wears out, it's garbage. It will wear out with enough use, but they're cheap enough that that's not really a concern for most people. So, very simple to apply. Make sure your mug is centered top and bottom and side to side the best you can. We slip one in through here, slip it through that hole, and give it a click. Make sure it's tight. Want to make sure that these edges where the metal pieces here touch the mug, that's definitely getting to your paper. Okay, you want your paper on the inside of that on both sides. If you're not getting that, then you're not using tight enough a wrap. How do I know that my wrap is tight enough? Well, that's one way. The other way is that you can definitely see that it's looser here and tighter across here. Your wrap doesn't have to be super tight, but it does have to be definitely snug and putting pressure on the mug. Okay? The purpose of the wrap is to ensure that when the ink begins to sublimate, it's got nowhere to go but directly to the surface it's touching. If there is a lax in that, if there's space there, then the ink can drift. And where does it go? Well, heat rises, so it goes up and it creates that blurring, or at worst, it makes that ghosting effect. And we're really, well, that's unsightly and you can't sell that, can you? All right. I also would like to, while I'm taking the opportunity, to demonstrate a Hicks wrap. Now, the Hicks wrap is easily the best wrap in the business. There is no number two. Number two is a long way from it. The thing about the Hicks wrap is, of course, they are considerably more expensive per unit, like considerably, about 4 times as much money, 3 times to 4 times as much money. So for a lot of people, they just, no, I'm never doing that. Well, here's some of the advantages to it. The first is it's adjustable. So you can loosen these bolts here, pull on your silicone, adjust your tension to exactly what you want. It means that it's useful for a lot of different kinds of jobs. So if you're doing 11 ounce, you're doing 15 ounce, now you're doing enamel mugs, now you're doing the 14 ounce fat mugs. I like calling them fat mugs. Then yeah, these will do all of them if you are willing to take the time to adjust them. As well, when the silicone finally does wear out, and I don't know when that'll be because this is easily the best quality silicone that they come with, but when the silicone wears out, the reality is that the hardware is still good. All you need to do is replace the silicone, and that's quite cheap. But oh my gosh, do these ever work? So let me show you how they work. Lay it down. It's essentially the same process, but there are some advantages. The first is, you'll notice that instead of trying to slip it through the handle, it's actually absorbing the handle inside it. You can also see how much closer to the handle I can get with this design, right? And also, I don't know if you noticed how easy it was for me to secure it, but they are a cinch to get on and off. No problem at all. I did that one-handed. So they are higher quality. They do the job better. Usually the best quality comes with an expense. If it's a worthwhile expense for you, great. If not, I understand, because again, 3 to 4 times more expensive. All right, let me do this back up. Yep, we're still good. Okay, also gonna have to pause this, bring it up to 14 again. Gonna get a glove on. Pair of gloves is probably best. All right, now, something else I'm gonna ask you to notice, if I can get you please to bring that camera in and take a look at the tray. You'll notice that this tray is a mesh tray, not a solid tray. The reason the mesh tray is valuable over the solid tray is airflow. The whole thing with a sublimation oven is airflow. So if you have a solid tray, you are preventing proper airflow. You want a mesh tray in there if you can get one. So just pointing that out really quickly. Here I'm doing 400 degrees for 14 minutes. I've seen people try 10 minutes in the past, and in my experience, you don't get the best results with that. You might get away with 12, and if you're doing a lot of mugs at the same time, you want to bring that time up. That's how you make sure that you're good. The more mugs, the higher the time. And generally speaking, with 14 minutes, you can pretty much stuff an oven pretty good at 14 minutes. In this case, I'm only going to do the 2, but here we go. Okay, here we go. We're beeping away. Let's get started. So you just open her up, and we're going to pop these in. Oops. There we go. Pop that in. And we'll see you in 14 minutes. Now, here's my workflow for this. Now, obviously, I'm only doing 2, but the rush is not that much, right? I'm going in. I'm grabbing these, dealing with really good gloves, right? Now, getting them off, That's pretty straightforward. Get it off. Right? Okay. The next thing I do, though, is I get into there, peel this as quick as I can, get that off. I could probably do that with a glove on. Right? Because here I've left myself some space to grab it with. Oh, there we go. And I get it off right away. Now, let's take a look at the results. I will point out, by the way, that these are actually the mugs that you sent back. So we can take a look and see the results. All right, those look pretty good. Here's another one. Now, why did I get them off right away? Well, I didn't want any drifting. I didn't want any ghosting. If I leave the paper on after I have taken the wrap off, I risk and then let it cool with the paper on, I risk the space between that paper and that mug without any pressure. I risk the gassing now, which will continue to happen using the sublimation paper, right? There will still be gassing, and I will leave that, actually that paper will be working against me because it will have a slight gap without any pressure, but continue to be sublimating, right? If you take these mugs, you put a blank piece of paper on them, you wrap them again and throw them back in the oven, you take them out, you're going to see sublimation ink on the paper that you peel off after that. Because sublimation ink resublimates again and again and again. So to prevent ghosting, we get that paper off and we let it air cool like so. This prevents the ghosting, and it does another really important thing. And that is, it lets me take a look at my results right away. By having the opportunity to look at my results right away, I can see if I've done something wrong right away, which means that I can make an adjustment, right? Well, let's take a look. I did actually make a little mistake. If we take a look at this one, the way I positioned it, it's too high. Don't like that positioning. If I did that for 12 mugs before I even found out that I'd done it, well, that's 12 wasters. I don't want to do that. So in order to prevent waste and prevent ghosting, I get that paper off right away. So a couple of things, let's quickly review. First is, you don't need a lot of tape. The more tape you're using, the harder it is to actually get that paper off when you need to take it off. So taping it top to bottom solidly like that, not actually a useful thing to do. It doesn't help you. It's not the expense of the tape. It's really just that it's making your challenge harder when it's time to get that paper off, and you want to get that paper off with some urgency. Second, the advantage of a Hicks wrap versus the cheaper ones, they are just better. I love them. The mesh of my oven tray helps airflow. Better airflow when you have a mesh tray versus a solid one. And the last one is, yeah, again, get that paper off ASAP. That will help you a great deal. So, this has been Michael with Joto Imaging Supplies. Thank you for joining us. If this wasn't your personal request, but you found something useful, thank you for staying until the end. If you like this kind of content, please like the video. If you really like it, subscribe and tell all your friends. This has been Michael with Joto Imaging Supplies. Happy sublimating. Be well.